Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Suryo Dewantoro Joyodiningrat. I'm from Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris Study Program, regular morning class, Pancasakti University Bekasi. And here I want to sharing to you about passive voice and elliptical construction. And the first, I want to sharing about passive voice to you. Okay, the table of content is first is definition, the meaning of passive voice. The second is construction, the passive voice form. The third function, the function of passive voice. And the fourth is example sentences of passive voice. And the last one is closing, conclusion of explanation. Okay, the first one is definition. Passive voice is a sentence in which the subject is subjected to an action or activity. Okay, we move to the second one. The second one is the definition. In first is the difference. In Indonesia, the passive voice or passive sentences usually begins with the prefix ter or di. Okay, the second one is option of D. Passive voice is the opposite of active voice, which is a sentence with the subject doing an activity or activity. And the simple example is example is the motorcycle is washed by dad once a week. This sentence is passive voice because the subject of the motor is subject to activity, namely being washed by the father. Okay, the second one is a construction. Passive voice using the sentence pattern subject plus auxiliary verbs and verb 3. In the passive voice, the auxiliary verb will change form based on the time it occurs. This is the 13th structure of passive voice in many tenses. Okay, we move into the construction. This is simple example. Before it is he, the subject, opens the verb, and the door is object, and this is the active voice. We can move to the passive voice. There is the door, or the subject is in the first sentence, is opened is a verb, and we just put the by in after a verb, and him it's an agent. The example, this is an example of changing from active to passive sentences that you can use as a reference and make it easier to understand and remember. Okay, we're gonna move to the third function. Function passive voice can be used to explain several things. Passive voice can be used to explain several things, such as the first one is explain and describe the process. Example, after cocoa have been picked, they are washed and roasted. The second one is emphasize the news so that it feels more objective. For example, several people were arrested. They will be held in custody overnight. And the third, for the last one, is provide an introduction to more academic or formal activities, such as letters, reports, essays, and lecturer. For example, it is thought that the cause of the sudden increase in blah blah blah, for example. Okay, we're gonna move to the fourth one is example. Okay, the construction, the positive, you can see this is in the left of the PPT is active sentence, and in the right place is a passive sentence. For example, you eat a bar of white chocolate. In the passive sentence, a bar of white chocolate is eaten by you, right there. And the second one, I catch the tuna fish in the river. And the passive sentence, the tuna fish in the river is caught by me. Okay, the third one, the carpenter cut the wood. And the passive sentence is the wood is cut by carpenter. The fourth one is I charge my phone for 2 hours. And the passive sentence, my phone is charged for 2 hours by me. It is will be last of my construction in the positive sentence. You watch the TV in the living room, and we can move to the passive voice. The TV in the living room is watched by you. Okay, this is the negative one, the construction. I do not plant the mango tree. In the passive sentence, the mango tree is not planted by me. The second one, Yesi does not make a vanilla cupcake. In the passive sentence, a vanilla cupcake is not made by Yesi. The third one, we do not watch TV. In the passive sentence, we're gonna use the TV is not watched by us. The fourth one is Sammy does not pay the tax bill. To the passive sentence is the tax bill is not paid by Sammy. Okay, the last one is the pirates does not hide the treasure in the land. In the passive voice, the treasure is not hidden in the land by the pirates. Okay, we're gonna move to the interrogative construction. The first one is does she buy the new handphone? In the passive sentence is the new handphone bought by her? The second one is does he sing an old song for you? In the passive sentence is an old song sung by him for you? The third one is does Annie cook a chicken soup? In the passive sentence is a chicken soup cooked by Annie. The fourth one, do they repair your computer speakers well? In the passive sentence is are your computer speakers repaired by them well? And the last one is does he burn the plastic trash? The passive sentence is the plastic trash burned by him. Okay, we're gonna move to the last of the slides. That's a conclusion. Review of event. Passive voice, we have finished our material at this meeting. In the passive voice, right? Which is our example about passive voice in the simple present tense. Okay, the three of the construction, the positive, negative, and interrogative sentence before is in the simple present tense. Passive voice, there is much more material about passive voice with different tenses, so make sure you have mastered and understood tenses in general here. I hope that all of you can apply the material that I have given you as well as possible, both in working on questions and assignments at school as well as a daily conversation. Finally, never get bored to study with us. Stay enthusiastic and diligent in learning. Good luck in passive voice. Okay, now we're gonna move to the second of of the second material. It's an elliptical construction. So what is elliptical construction? In linguistics, an ellipsis or elliptical construction is a clause creation of one or more words that can be reached in the context of the remaining elements. Okay, the function of elliptical structure is joining two sentences by omitting a part of sentences to make it shorter without changing the meaning. There is. And now we're gonna move to the next slide. Okay, there is the three types of elliptical construction, which is we're gonna explain one by one in this meeting or in this sharing session, I guess. The first one is the positive. We call it positive, like positive sentences and positive sentences. And the second is the negative. We're gonna call that negative, right? In this section, there is a negative sentences and negative sentences, and the last one is combined. We call it that, which is positive sentences plus negative sentences. So what is that? We're gonna sharing about that. Okay, the pattern 1, positive sentence and subject plus auxiliary plus 2, or positive sentence and plus so plus auxiliary plus subject. For example, the sentence is you bought a new book. She bought a new book. We're gonna combine that to you bought a new book and she did too, or you bought a new book and so did she. Like that, just like that. Okay, we're gonna move the second pattern. There is a negative sentences and plus subject plus auxiliary plus not plus either, or negative sentence and plus neither plus auxiliary plus subject. For the example is I don't like smoking and he doesn't like smoking. We're gonna combine it into I don't like smoking and he doesn't either, or I don't like smoking and neither does he. Okay, we're gonna move to the last pattern. It's a pattern 3, combined pattern. Positive sentence but plus subject plus auxiliary plus not, or negative sentence but plus subjects plus auxiliary. And for example, Amir can play a guitar, Ali can't play a guitar. We're gonna combine it into Amir can play a guitar but Ali can't, or Ali can play a guitar but Amir can. Okay, just a simple. Okay, I think there's enough for this sharing section. Thank you for your attention, or your exciting in this sharing section. Okay, if you have any question, you can email me on my email in there, or in my WhatsApp. The number of my WhatsApp is in there too. Okay, see you. Good luck in your English learning, and see you in the next meeting again with me in my YouTube channel. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.